Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what I want to see in Shadowlands, the new upcoming expansion from Blizzard in World of Warcraft. Alright, these are all the top things that I'm crossing my fingers for come later in 2020. I think if I had to guess, it would probably be late 2020, November, December range, maybe. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's going to be November 14th. All right, if that is right, you guys all owe me a subscribe. You have to click the subscribe button if that is correct. All right, we'll know from the future viewers, future Xaryu, am I right, what I want to see in Shadowlands. I feel like a teacher right now who's like covering up half of their slides so that they slowly release more so the kids don't watch in advance. Anyway, what I want to see in Shadowlands, let's move this down a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Abilities being reintroduced is number freaking one, Blizzard. Blizzard already knows this, all right? You guys already know this. Everyone in the comments already know this. Give us more abilities, Blizzard. Okay, so what I think happened here is that Blizzard was probably doing internal testing with new people playing World of Warcraft in 2019. This is my guess, sorry, this is my gut feeling. And people were probably like, the number one thing, the feedback they probably got was, there's so many abilities, I don't know where to begin. Right? That's probably their feedback through this elevator. Going back and forth is annoying me. We're flipping directions around here. Boom. All right. Number one feedback from internal testing is probably like, there's so many abilities, this game is confusing, right? People are used to Fortnite. People are used to League of Legends with 6 buttons, or Fortnite with, I don't play Fortnite, 5 buttons, 6 buttons, I don't know. 6 buttons, right, is pretty standard for video games these days. Maybe Counter-Strike has around that. You have shoot, you have aim, you have nade, you have, 6 buttons. World of Warcraft comes out of nowhere, and it has 5 billion buttons, okay? You have literally 50 key bindings. It's like playing a piano. So what I think Blizzard tried to do was say, okay, let's get rid of the boring buttons. Let's just keep it very active, right? Let's keep it like just the primary buttons you're pressing. Let's keep those in. Let's get rid of all this extra clutter, extra nonsense, and let's keep you guys with just your primary abilities. But what I think ended up happening is that people that wanted less buttons, aka the people playing Fortnite or Counter-Strike, whatever, hopped into WoW, and that still has too many buttons, so they're still not playing the game. But all the old people that have been playing since day one, this is pretty much the situation that happened here. We're kids in a candy store. You gave us a ton of candy, aka a ton of buttons when we're happy, okay? And then you took away like half of our candy. And that doesn't feel good, Blizzard. I want my abilities back, all right? So in short, I would love things like Alter Time, Deep Freeze, Blazing Speed. I like pressing buttons because it's fun, and I prefer abilities that aren't passive and that take a skill cap to use, right? I prefer abilities like Temp Shield. I think it's a great design. You have to use it before the damage comes. If you do that, you do well, right? If you do it at a time that doesn't make sense, you're going to get 0 value and you're going to die. I like abilities that have a skill cap. If you don't use it right, you're going to get owned. If you use it right, you're going to own. That's fun, right? That creates a skill gap. I like that. Abilities like Temp Shield offer that. Abilities like Alter Time offer that, right? So abilities that take a skill cap to use that aren't just passive. What was that? Flame Glow. Flame Glow was the worst talent. It just passively made you take less damage. Was that in WoD? I did not like that. Let's use abilities that you can actually press that take a skill cap to use. Very, very simple on number one here, all right? Number 2, less damage on CDs, much more damage baseline makes for dynamic PvP. The easiest way to think about this, guys, is look at vanilla WoW or look at BC. If you frostbolt someone in vanilla WoW and it crits, how much does it do? It does probably 60% of someone's life. Maybe 50 or 40 if you have someone with a lot of HP. If you have someone who's undergeared, it will one-shot them. Am I saying that's how it should be? No, I'm not saying that's how normal WoW should be. But what I am saying is when I frostbolt someone in live WoW and it does 1% of someone's life, that doesn't feel good. If I got an entire frostbolt off, I need to see their life bar move in a meaningful way, right? And to compensate, cooldowns have to be less effective, right? So if you're pressing combustion, I can one-shot someone. Now, if I'm pressing fireball, it does 1% of their life. I think this is too much disparity here, all right? What I suggest, and I've talked to other people, namely Fenruki and some other YouTubers and streamers, Fireball, when casted, should probably do, I don't know, in the ballpark of 10 or 15% of someone's life. Not one-shot them, but not 1%. Maybe 15% of someone's life if you fireball them. Whatever. Maybe that means you have to buff heals. Maybe that means you have to make cooldowns less effective, right? But another good example is back in like MoP. When I Ice Lanced someone, it did about 15 to 20% of their life. One Ice Lance, 15 or 20% of their life. That made the spec fun to play, right? There was a lot of good classes in MoP. Hunters were good. DKs were good. Shamans were good. Druids were good. Locks, like, mages weren't the only OP thing. Everything felt OP. That's probably another point I would want to have here is like make everything feel OP, but less damage on cooldowns, more damage just baseline. Give more damage overall, right? I think things like Incanter's Flow, like just this passive kind of weird like damage modifier, making it kind of RNG, making it feel like super. I guess what I don't like, guys, is when I play my mage and I press Ice Lance, it does like 2% of someone's life. That's not fun. There's like 500 damage sources coming in from like concentrated flame and a bunch of passive healing. Like, remove the passive healing, remove all these damage sources. My Ice Lance should do maybe 15% of someone's life if it crits and I have maybe an unused trinket up, right? Like, that's just what it should do, in my opinion, right? So just more damage baseline, right? Like, Fireball should be doing more damage. Frostbolt should be doing more damage. I guess I use Mage because I play Mage as an example, but I'm talking for every class. I'm not saying Mages should be blatantly OP. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Mortal Strike or Immolate or a lot of these abilities should just do more damage. When you cast an ability, it should just do more damage, right? Not just casters, I mean across the board. And then damage on CDs should be reduced. So right now, the way WoW plays is nothing happens until one team pops a cooldown. When one team pops a cooldown, the other team reacts, and then the other team pops their cooldown, and then the other team reacts. It's kind of just this back and forth go-based playstyle, which I like, it's fine, but it means it's not dynamic. It means crazy stuff can't happen all the time because you already know when they can kill you. When can they kill you? When they pop their cooldowns. So you pop your defensive when they pop their offensive. It's a very even trade here. What makes this more fun is if someone can fireball you for 15% of your life, guess what? You might have to pop a defensive when they don't pop their offensive. But it also means when they pop their offensive, they don't instantly win because it's not as powerful. It makes it for very dynamic gameplay. Right now, everyone knows when to use which cooldowns because it's scripted. It's already like, okay, when they pop Combust, I'm going to pop Pet Sack. When they pop Combust, I'm going to pop Trinket Sack. You get next. I do this. It's just like, it's already played out, right? But if you make it so that abilities can crit much higher without cooldowns, then it's not already played out and every game is unique and different, meaning it's more fun to play in the long term because people don't get bored because you don't know what's going to happen every single game. Boom. That's number 2. All right. Number 3, PvP vendors. Is there anyone that disagrees with this anymore? Is there anyone out there? If you disagree, say I. Nope. No one disagrees with that statement. PvP vendors, come on, Blizzard! Please, PvP vendors. I don't think a single person in my entire apartment didn't disagree, Blizzard. Blizzard, are you in there? Are you in there, Blizzard? No one disagrees with this. Everyone wants the vendors, all right? Has to be fun and exciting to get your gear. When you log in on Tuesday, I want to just buy my upgrade because I worked all week for it. I don't want to have to maybe get an upgrade because I worked all week for it. This is the least thing you could do, Blizzard. Come on. Come on. That's about that. That's about it for that one. Number 4. If gear comes from PvE, then have it be offensive, not defensive, and have it be a side grade at best, making you squishier but also do more damage. In the worst case scenario, end game sooner, not later. The best way to think about number 4 is back in Mist of Pandaria, or maybe Cataclysm would be a good example of this. Back in Cataclysm, you could drop Resilience, okay, for more damage. If you got more damage, it wasn't necessarily better, but guess what? You're squishier and you can do more damage. This is how PvE gear should work in PvP. Whoops. If you do more damage, cool. That comes at a cost. Now you're squishier. The problem is, well, there's 2 problems. The first problem is there is no cost to putting on PvE gear. You can just put on PvE gear and you're not any less squishy. It's just pretty much just as good or sometimes better in some situations. That's not really okay for PvP. In my opinion, I think PvE gear should be a thing. Don't get me wrong. I think PvPers should have to PvE and vice versa. I think PvEers should have to PvP. I like that they have, it's a game. It's a total game. It's World of Warcraft. It's not just arena, and it's not just raiding. I like that you have to do both, okay? I nod there. I get that. I'm talking to you, Blizzard, all right? But I think that if you are a PvPer and you're using gear from PvE, it should be a side grade that maybe makes you a bit more offensive, gives you a bit more damage, gives you a bit more opportunity to one-shot, but now you're a bit squishier. It's this trade-off that a lot of people did and a lot of people liked, right? I remember Raikou, I think it was Raikou and Kata, dropped like a ton of his resilience and just went full offensive PvE gear, and he made that playstyle work. But like, I don't know, I could be quoting this wrong, but I think Veneruki did the opposite. He just got a bunch of resilience, and he made that playstyle work. There wasn't one that was better or worse. You could kind of pick what you wanted to pick and then play, right? That's how I think PvE gear should be involved. The second problem, guys, is that the PvE gear that's in the game right now is defensive PvE gear, making games go longer. So it's not that you're making it more offensive, but you're squishier. It's actually the opposite. If you have the PvE gear, now you're tankier. Like, no, this is all backwards, right? If you get PvE gear, you should do more damage, but be squishier. And it should be an offensive benefit for the lack of some defense. There shouldn't be any PvE gear that makes you tankier than PvP gear. The PvP gear should be the tanky gear. That's my opinion. I think most people would agree with that if you have the PvP gear, that should be the gear with more stamina, more resilience, right? Like, since Classic WoW, the PvP gear is the gear that's tanky, that allows you to fight other players. It fits with the lore, it fits with the story, it fits with the history of WoW. PvE gear in no way should be tankier. Period. At the end, in my opinion, there's no way PvE gear should be tankier than PvP gear, but if you want to have that added offensive bonus, sure, I like that players can PvE for PvP benefits and vice versa. So that's my take on that. If you're going to have PvE gear in the game, have a little bit of an offensive benefit. Character customization, enchants, reforging, min-maxing. This is more of a minor note for me, but I would like some cool stuff like reforging, like more enchants on your gear. I like tweaking the numbers. Maybe this is just me, right? This isn't like a huge point. I'd say 1 through 4 are probably more important, right? But I like the idea that I can make my character feel like my character by tweaking a bunch of small things, right? Maybe that's just me, like I said, but I think that was cool, like in Wrath with a lot of enchants, with Mop with reforging. I thought that was fun, right? Not necessary, but I thought that was fun. I think that'd be a nice little benefit there. Another one that isn't maybe necessary, right? 1 through 4 are probably more necessary, but I think this is also fun. And it says more rewards for higher PvP. And the best way to think about this is in Burning Crusade. You guys can tell, like, Burning Crusade, huh? Sitting here in Shatrath. There's nobody here except me. 2019, almost 2020, and I'm still living in this expansion. All right. Anyway, guys, this is a huge point, all right? It's a minor point, but it's also a huge point. In Burning Crusade, okay, I think rank 1 was probably like 2.4K. Gladiator was probably around 2.1, 2.2K, all right? Those numbers might be slightly off, but my point is the reward for the shoulders that made you stronger was 2.2K. Picture a world right now where we had a reward for 2.8K. Okay, so rank 1 right now is like 3K, which means if you subtract 200 points or you go a little bit lower than the highest rating, that means you would have shoulders for 2.8K. Now, in game, if you go to your collections, appearances, sets, this limited time set, elite limited time set is fully acquirable for 1.8K, 1800 rating. Actually, the cloak is 2.1K, I think. But besides the cloak, 1800 rating, you can get the entire elite set. Now, okay, I'm nodding. If you want to keep the set in, sure, that's fine. I guess my big gripe is that there should be something to aspire towards, something that players can strive to. Like the 2.2K shoulders in BC, like the 1.8K weapon in BC, that are hard to get, that most players won't get, but when you see someone else with that, you get excited, right? We see this in Vanilla, we see this in Burning Crusade, we see this in Wrath of the Lich King. We see this maybe a little bit in Kata, and then it was just taken out. I don't like this super casual, okay, everyone can get this if you play a certain, like, this should be an elite reward for higher rated PvP that not everyone gets. You make it pretty hard to get on purpose, that players want to strive for, makes them Q Arena. Maybe it's not actual better gear with better stats. Maybe it's cosmetic. Maybe that's shifting this set and making it fully obtainable when you hit 2.6 or 2.7K. Yes, you heard that right? It's not casual. Not everyone's going to get it, but it's going to make it feel special. And then when you see it, you're like, oh, and then what you want to try to push that yourself, right? Getting the whole thing at 1.8 is just, when the highest rating is 3K, is like, guys, back in BC, the highest ratings were 2.4, and the 2.2K shoulders were making you better, more powerful, and that was fun in my opinion. When I saw those shoulders, my jaw dropped. I was like, wow, this player's so good. I think this feeling of striving towards something needs to come back. And I know it's not casual, but I think WoW does better in a world where you can see something and feel excited about it. And when you get it, it's very rewarding. So I think high-rated PvP needs rewards that most people aren't going to get. So when people see it, it gets them excited and makes them want to queue. Okay. And then this last point is another more of a minor point, I would also say. So 1 through 4 are more about like actual points, but stat squishing and keeping it that way. Like lower HP pools actually lower them and not just lower them, and then by the end of the expansion, they're high again. It's not a huge deal to me. But like I think simplicity is key. I think one of the reasons Classic WoW was so easy to watch is because if you frostbolt someone for 1,500, that number is tangible. You can see 1,500 and be like, wow, that's a pretty big frostbolt. Jeez, that guy got pwned. Right now, it's like, I actually don't even know what my GPI hits for. I play in percentages because I have no idea what hitting hard is versus not hitting hard, because people have hundreds of thousands of life, and when I see a certain number, it's too much to calculate. So at some point, I just turn it all off in my brain. I don't even know what a big number is versus a small number right now. This is not a huge deal, but I would like to see everything shrunk to where, okay, I crit for 10K. That's pretty good. That's half of someone's life, or, you know, whatever. I think that the simplicity, a lot of simplicity is very, very key for spectators, and then also for actual players. So this is pretty much everything I want to see on Shadowlands. Abilities being reintroduced, less damage on the CDs, much more damage baseline. So we have this dynamic, less predictable gameplay. PvP vendors, if gear comes from PvP, have it be offensive, right? Come at a cost, of course. The character customization, rewards for actual high-rated PvP, and then simplicity with the stat squish, making things a bit easier to follow. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything here. I mean, I think if they started with this kind of stuff, it would be a very, very, very good start for making the game really just fun and exciting to play in PvP. I guess what I want to see in PvP Shadowlands, like, I guess I could title the video something like that, because this is not anything with mythics. This isn't anything to do with raiding or PvE or World Quest or Battlegrounds. This is more just arena based. But I think all of this stuff, and I think a lot of the community would agree that a lot of this stuff, if this was put through, makes the game just really, 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 really awesome and enjoyable to play. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you did not enjoy the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs down. Talk to me in the comments on this video about what you guys want to see in Shadowlands. What do you guys want to see? Is it all the stuff I said? Is it there's something I forgot? Is there something that maybe you specifically want to see that you haven't heard anyone else talk about? Talk down below in the comments about what you guys want to see in this new upcoming expansion. I'm hoping this is the good one. We've already had some really good promises from Blizzard, so hopefully we'll see more and more of this stuff implemented in Shadowlands. Like I said, we're probably about a year out, so hopefully this is the expansion that we've all been waiting for. Guys, thumbs video up if you like it, thumbs down if you didn't. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter. I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.